Today we want to discuss about continuity. I have a graph with a point A and B. If I draw my function on my graph without lifting up my pen, then this graph is a continuous function for all values between A and B. So this is a continuous function. Now, the next graph below, if I draw another graph, and this time I lift up my pen, then I continue. You can see that there is a break at this point. Is an open loop. Then this graph will say it is discontinuous. The graph moves from this part and there is a jump towards the point B. Now, the values that are close to A correspond to the values on this graph. But at this very point, there is a jump. So the values of x, which is on this part, will correspond to the value on this upper graph. So the value at this point is not on the graph on the left hand side, but on the graph on the right hand side. That means that there is a jump. Therefore, this graph is discontinuous. It's a discontinuous graph. On this graph, if we should have a graph that goes like this, and there is a jump there, there's a gap there, a jump that is not continuous. But the value at that point is at the top of this other graph. Here there is a value for the corresponding x-axis, but it is not on this graph. It is at the top of that part of the graph. So this graph is also discontinuous. On this graph, let's say we have a point there, and a graph that goes towards that point but not touching, and we have from this side, left hand side, to going but not touching the point. Then we say this graph is also discontinuous. We can say this one has a vertical asymptote. On the last graph below, let's say there is a point there on the x-axis, and we have this graph that goes close to that point but not touching the point, and on the upper side of the graph it also goes but not touching the point. Now this is also a vertical asymptote. We call it vertical asymptote, and this graph is also discontinuous.